Hello everybody, it's Shannon, and today I've been thinking a lot about my granddaughter, and I would like to read her a couple stories that she can watch and spend time with Grandma. So the first one is the shortest one, because if she doesn't make it through this one, she's only 3 months old, at least she'll get the shortest one done, and then she can come back to the longer one. So the first one is, I love you just the way you are, which is an adorable book. And this is by Virginia Miller. Okay, let's see, how should I do this? Says, wrap your scarf around your ears to keep them warm, said George. Nah. But Bartholomew was still grumpy. His legs felt too stumpy. I'll carry you, said George. Nah. At home, Bartholomew's porridge was too lumpy, his tummy too plumpy. Nah. I think that was his favorite word. And he was too small. See him sitting in his high chair? I'll feed you, said George. Isn't that cute? At bedtime, Bartholomew hid. He's hiding under the chair, and he said, nah. And then he did not like anything at all. He didn't want to take a bath either. He said, nah. What a day, said George. You've been so grumpy. Your legs have felt stumpy. Your porridge was too lumpy. Your tummy was too plumpy. But, nah. He's mad. He's got to take a bath. And then his daddy says, I love you just the way you are. Bartholomew felt better, and he kissed George, his daddy. And he brushed his teeth all by himself. Time for bed, said George. It's been a long day. Nah, said Bartholomew. That's his favorite word. We both need a little rest. The end. I just think that's the cutest. Did you like that, Adeline? So this next one is for a little bit older kids, but it's one of my favorite books. And it's called The Relatives Came, and it's by Cynthia Rylant. So this one I'm going to have to read, and then I'll show the pictures. But here's the cover. Here's all their baggage that they packed for the trip. I'll show you this and then I'll read. It was in the summer of the year when the relatives came. They came up from Virginia. They left when their grapes were nearly purple enough to pick. but not quite. There they are, traveling on the road. They had an old station wagon that smelled like a real car, and in it they put an ice chest full of soda pop and some boxes of crackers and some bologna sandwiches. And up they came from Virginia. They left at 4 in the morning when it was still dark, before the birds even woke up. There they are, traveling. They drove all day long and into the night, and while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains, and they thought about their almost purple grapes back home. They thought about Virginia, but they thought about us too, waiting for them. Look at that. All the ways they traveled. So they drank up all their pop and ate up all their crackers and traveled up all those miles until finally they pulled into our yard. Then it was hugging time. Talk about hugging. Those relatives just passed us all around their car, pulling us against their wrinkled Virginia clothes, crying sometimes. They hugged us for hours. Then it was into the house, and so much laughing, and shining faces and hugging in the doorways. You'd have to go through at least 4 different hugs to get from the kitchen to the front room. Those relatives. Look at them, they're just hugging and hugging and hugging. And finally, after a big supper, 2 or 3 times around until we all got a turn at the table, there was a quiet talk, and we were in 2s and 3s throughout the house. Doesn't that look fun? The relatives weren't particular about beds, which was good since there weren't any extra beds. So a few squeezed in with us and the rest slept on the floor. Some with their arms thrown over the closest person, and some with an arm across one person and a leg across another. It was different going to sleep with all that new breathing in the air. The relatives stayed for weeks and weeks. They helped us tend the garden, and they fixed any broken things they could find. They ate up all our strawberries and melons, then promised we could eat up all their grapes and peaches when we came to Virginia. Look, they're playing music. But none of us thought about Virginia much. We were so busy hugging and eating and breathing together. Finally, after a long time, the relatives loaded up their ice chest and headed back to Virginia at 4 in the morning. We stood there in our pajamas and waved them off in the dark. We watched the relatives disappear down the road. Then we crawled back into our beds that felt too big and too quiet. We fell asleep. The relatives went home. And the relatives drove on all day long and into the night. And while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains, and they thought about their dark purple grapes waiting at home in Virginia. But they thought about us too. Sorry. But they thought about us too, missing them, and they missed us. Ooh, that's bad when you cry at a kid's book. And then when they were finally home in Virginia, they crawled into their silent, soft beds and dreamed about next summer. I guess that book hit too close to home, living far away from family. But now, Grandma and Grandpa live closer, and we'll be able to see Adeline and our family sooner and much more often, which makes me very happy. So I hope you enjoyed these books, and if you did, let me know and I can read others, and I will leave you then. Bye-bye.